So our summer crops are progressing nicely. We have corn tasseling as you go further south, and as you progress north on some later planting dates, the corn's growing nicely. This rain was much needed. There's some soybean in the ground that was up and starting to go along with the cotton. We still have an opportunity to do some nutrient management in some of these crops. The shorter corn, you could still get on with nitrogen for a side dress if you think there's an opportunity. It'll take a high clearance sprayer. Cotton, we still have plenty of time with our cotton crop to get on with nitrogen if we need to top it off at around that pinhead square. And soybeans, we can keep an eye out on soybeans. And one thing we need to watch on soybeans is yellowing and chlorosis of the leaves. That could be due to nitrogen, which would be because of poor nodulation. And if there's no nodulation, we can come in with the nitrogen over the top. Also some potassium deficiencies. We can go over the top with dry fertilizer and cover that.
Now that wheat harvest is over, we see a lot of fields that kind of look like this. Those who are wanting to put double crops behind wheat, what kind of guidance do you have for them?
Yeah, as I was driving across the state harvesting wheat last week, over the last couple of weeks, saw a lot of planters and drills just sitting, waiting for this moisture to come in so they can get the crop in the ground. One thing I like to stress with producers is a double crop isn't necessarily just a catch-all crop. We've had some really phenomenal double crop yields in the last couple of years. With those yields come nutrient demands and nutrient needs. Pay attention to soil test. Those soil test reports are just the same for our full season of wheat as it is for the double crop. If the wheat needed potassium, so will the double crop soybean or sorghum. If it needs phosphorus, it will need that too. So don't just treat it as a layover. We have an opportunity to make really good yields when we have soil moisture in good conditions. And if you think you have those conditions, but limiting nutrients on that double crop, go ahead and get it out there. You can get the crop in the ground and stand up and then fertilize. That's just fine. We can put on N, P, and K after that fact. But let's make that plan and let's have a successful double crop.
And speaking of planting, now that it's rained, it's time to, start planning ahead on the next go around.
Yeah. Now that our fields have softened up with good soil moisture, it's a great time to go out there in these wheat stubble fields and take soil samples. There's not too soon of a time to get that sample collected, get it into the soil testing lab, whether it's with OSU or another private lab, to get those results back. There's a couple things to really keep in mind. I'm looking for primarily those pH results. Getting lime to the field takes a little bit of time, and then getting the lime to work in the field takes time. We don't just apply ag lime and next day it works. We apply ag lime, and over time that ag lime breaks down, changes the pH, and in some conditions they'll take 200 to 300 days to get that full change. So the sooner we can get it onto our fields, no-till or conventional till, the more time it has to react to make it better for that next crop. I'd also suggest, since we have a great opportunity this year, go out and sample a little bit more. If you've just been taking a composite sample of a full field, maybe break that field up into two sections. Get a higher and low area, or a sandy and a clay area. Get those two areas, find a little bit more and do a little bit more site-specific management. If you're already doing grid samples, that's great. Let's keep that up. Let's look at those samples and see the strategies we can have to improve our nutrient management, our nutrient efficiency, and our output.
With the coronavirus, some folks may think there's some limitations to getting a soil sample, but county offices can still facilitate that.
Absolutely. The county offices are still making different ways so they can get their soil samples in. The soil testing lab at OSU is running with the restrictions. They have done things to make that lab operate. But yes, soil samples are still going through. That lab is making producer samples a priority, putting research samples on hold as long as they have to make sure the producer samples are processing as quickly as possible. So just because we have everything going on doesn't mean that the samples can't get processed in a timely manner and you get the results to make the recommendations.
No doubt, farming and agriculture still continues.
Still continues.
All right, Brian, thanks a lot. We'll see you again soon.